Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for coming back to join me. I'm continuing with my Shadows of Darkness journal. The previous, I think there's 2 videos out now. I've been playing with what I want to do on the cover, and I think I've got what I want. I've made this out of a piece of card, so I've cut it to size, and I've cut a window or a hole in it, and I've put one of Brygida's images behind it with the bat on. And then I've used, I don't know if you can see, hopefully the camera's picking up the crackled effect. And I did that by just using PVA glue. And it's quite, if I do it, it's easy to do. You just paint the background colour that you want, leave it to dry, put PVA glue on, leave that till it's kind of tacky, and then put the top colour, which in this case I use black, and then just leave it to dry. And when it dries, it cracks. It's amazing. So it's a really simple way to do it. So that's going to be, I think, the topper of this journal. That's going to go on there like that. So that's my plan. That's what I'm going to do. I've painted just some calico cotton, just plain canvas cotton. Painted it with acrylic paint that I've slightly watered down and then dry brushed like a gold on it, although it's not a shiny gold. And that's going to be my cover. So I've got that bit sorted. And I've done a little bit more work on it. If I just show you quickly, signature one is just about finished. I'm not in signature, I'm not in focus. Little paper there, I've got to do a tuck spot for just there. I did that, put the fabrics on. I've put the fabrics on here. Belly band just there. I'm using some of the Tim Holtz people and some of the Tim Holtz Halloween words. That says the grave digger has arisen. So it's kind of my take on spooky. I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving how it's working out at the moment. I've put fabric on each of the starts of each signature. Different kinds of, a little bit of fluff and lace. Somebody asked me how I dyed. This is my lace. Sorry, I'm just going to sit down. This is just lace that I've got. And I used acrylic paint. So I used black paint, wet the lace, and then watered down some acrylic black paint and just squeezed it in and soaked it through and then laid it flat to dry. And it came out a nice grey. Trial and error to get the colour that you want doing that, I think. So that's where it is. That's where I'm at the moment. There's a pocket at the back, so I have done some work on it without you, but I thought I would just bring you along and do a couple more bits and pieces before I finish it off. So I've got some of the printouts. So I've got the Shadows of the Night and Darkness Lullaby. I think this one's Darkness Lullaby. So I wanted to have a belly band out of that. So shall we just, I wanted to put it in the third signature, I think. This, I've had some questions about this as well. This is a window envelope and the way that I did it, somebody asked me how I covered it on the front and the back and got the tear shape. So I covered it on the front with this paper and then decided I wanted to tear it. So I closed the envelope, if you see what I mean, tore it down, inked it, and then I laid it flat on what I wanted to be the inside paper and kind of pencil lined where I needed to cut or tear it, and then it just fit. So a bit fiddly, but I couldn't think how else to do it. I bet there's a different way or a better way of doing it. So I thought I might do a belly band out of this, and I think this one is from the Darkness Lullaby. So I thought I might like these to be like just a belly band. And I can't think how to start. So I hope you're all okay. Everything's good this end. It's been quite warm here in the UK, which I don't mind. I quite like warm. I know not everybody does. I'm going to cut that a bit bigger because no, I don't need to. I'm gonna back it with some paper. That can be used for tags and things, can't it? So I'm going to cut it down and I'm going to glue it to a piece of paper to give it a bit more, make it a bit more substantial. I think I'll have a 2.5 inch wide belly band. That's quite a good size to have. And I know that's going to be too long. I don't know where I'd like it. Maybe I'd like it there. I think I would. So I think that looks quite nice just there as a belly band. Or it could go there as a belly band. So I'm undecided where it's going to go, but it will go. I'm going to cut the bottom bit off. Chuck all my papers on the floor. That's how I feel today. Just chuck them on the floor. It might actually go there and have it there as a belly band. Undecided. Quite like it actually there. Yeah, I do actually. I quite like it there. So it might go there as a belly band, but it's too flimsy because it's just on normal weight paper. So I'm just looking to see what scraps I've got that I can just back it with. I must have scraps. You must have scraps, Carol. I'm just going to back it with a book page. One moment. So all that I'm going to do is just back it with a piece of book page and then cut it. That says Game of Ghosts. Would you know it? I'm just wondering if I could cut that out and use it actually, you know. Does the next page say it as well? I've no idea what book this was from, but I am going to take that and I'm going to use it. Yeah, I am. Didn't think I was going to do anything like that, but then you never do you, when you start? Well, I don't when I start a project. I never know what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to glue that on there. So this will probably be the last video that I do. Oh dear, threads. Making this journal, but I will do a flip through as well. Somebody has asked to reserve this, so it will be a reserve. And if they do change, or if they should change their mind, then obviously I would put it into my Etsy store. Oh, while I'm doing this, I had a question for my UK subscribers. So does anybody in the UK, have you bought any airmail envelopes? You know, the vintage type looking ones that you used to get. So they're a pale blue envelope and they've got the red and the blue stripes around the envelope, around the edge. Has anybody, or could anybody recommend somewhere that I can buy them from? An Etsy seller, or I've looked for digital ones, but I can't make out on the digital ones if they are, I've lost me. Oh, it's here. If they make into a full envelope when you get them digital, or if it's just the front, because I want full envelopes. So I just wondered, I've seen a few for sale on Etsy, but when I look at them, I don't know if they're nice ones, if they're too thin, too thick. You know, sometimes I've ordered things and when they've come, I've been disappointed. So I guess I'm looking for a recommendation. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm looking for a recommendation for airmail envelopes. Give us a shout if you know somewhere. I'm just going to put that on there, you know. I wonder if I can tear the bottom. Carefully. I can. Now there's too much at the top. I do this, you know, and then I end up with nothing. That's okay. That's just going to go on there. Isn't that weird that I just picked a book up, or some book pages up, and it happened to say A Game of Ghosts? So that is going to be a belly band. So I'm actually going to stitch around that. So I'm not going to glue that in because I want to stitch around it. But I've got that bit done. I think that I was thinking that this could be a side tuck and I could put a ghost pocket on it. Is kind of what I was thinking, but I don't know if it'll work. So we'll have a look and we'll see if it will work. So I'm going to fold. I don't know what I'm doing at the minute, do I, folks? Hang on. Let's get this cut. Okay, so that's that bit cut. Don't need that bit anymore. Do you know, I really wish that I was a tidier maker. I feel sometimes that I make such a mess everywhere. I can never find anything. So I think I've said in my videos before that this kind of kit is different for me, and I guess that's kind of why I was drawn to it. So this kit from Brygida, and that's Kleeblatt Creations, is completely different to what I would normally use. But I think when you're doing, shall I say art, let's say art, or when you're making something, you have your own style and you have your own themes that you would like to go to work. Now, I know that I like to work with different themes if I can. I'm going to score that at about 4 inches, I think. And then we'll see how well it fits on the page. I like to try different themes, but I think for me, I'm drawn to the same kind of artist or the same style of art from an artist. Now, I have used Brygida's kits before and they are lovely. I love them. But this one was just so different to what I would normally be drawn to. But I was drawn to it. So that's why people have asked me why I've chosen a spooky when it's not something that I've done a lot of. And it's because I like the kit. It just said, use me. And I think that's what makes me pick a kit to use. It just appeals to me. I'm just going to use one of these as a kind of sounding board to see what it's like when I put it in on a page. Is it going to be too big, too small? Oh, do you know what? I think it might actually be quite nice as a tuck from the top and have a journal card in it. I think that's what I'm going to do, because if I have it there, it's going to be quite, I don't want to make it any narrower, otherwise I'm going to lose the image. But if I made it as a pocket from the top, or I could have it there and have it as a side, oh, it would work like that, wouldn't it? Because it would be easier to get something in the side there than it would in the side there. And if I was to put it somewhere like that, you can still see this pattern on here. This is Brygida's book page kit. Yes, I like that. So I'm going to do it as a side tuck. That is what I'm going to do it as. Forever changing one's mind. So it could be a top tuck because I've got my flaps. So if it was a top tuck, you'd glue 3. You go 1, 2, 3, stick it on. You could have it as a pocket and also a tuck, but then you would have to add something in the back there, obviously, to make that a tall pocket, but I don't want to do that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get it ready to be a pocket, a side tuck. I'm trying to get that bit to glue down, and I think the reason it's not wanting to is because I probably didn't put any glue on it. So it's going to be a side tuck that way. It could have been a side tuck that way if I'd put it in the back of the book. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it as a side tuck from the front. And I'm thinking I could put a pocket here by using this as one of those let's pretend pockets. So I'm going to just cut, I'm going to cut a section of the same image. And I'm just going to fold it. Oh look, side tuck false pockets. That is what I was going to do. I've tried to be a little bit ready, you see. So this will be a side tuck with an extra pocket on. So can you see the pattern? It is matching. Okay, let's get a bit down the side. We'll do the top. I don't want it to be a really deep pocket, so I'll have it about there. Let's just cut that off. A couple of people have said that it's not the favourite theme. You know, and we all have different tastes, don't we? In different, I'm going to do it there, I think. We have different tastes in different themes. But I think, for me, I think it does me good personally to make something in a different theme than what I would usually do, because I think it pushes me to think how I can use different images in a journal, which I do like to do. And I know here in the UK, we don't do a lot for Halloween. It's very commercialised here. I don't know what it's like over in the States or in other countries, but it's a very commercial thing here. You get lots of things in the shops to do with Halloween, but we don't get many kids going trick-or-treating. It's not that big a deal here. I don't feel it is anyway. My kids never went trick-or-treating. Say that, my kids. My oldest son is 40, so I don't think he'd do it now. You never know though. So that is going to go on there, kind of like that. I think that's a good fit, and it will be, if I can put a little notch in there, that might help me to line it up. There we go. And yes, it is a little bit slanty, but if I try and level it, I can level it up a little bit, but not a lot, because that blue line there, look, matches that blue line there. So it is a bit of a slanty pocket, but then it is on there as well. So let's glue that on. So that's going to be a little tuck spot, or a side tuck with a pocket on. And I think I'm going to try and go for that blue, match that bit up there, match those there, match that there. That's not a bad match. There we go. And of course I've got, and it's going to be a tuck spot from that side, so it will go at the front of on one of the front pages of a journal. So I'm kind of thinking that I do like it just there. So it would glue 1, 2, 3. It's got a pocket just there that needs to glue down. Don't pull it, Carol, till it's glued. So it's got a pocket just there, and it's going to be a side tuck there. And I think I'm going to leave that in there because I like it there. So that can stay there. So that's another pocket done. This gentleman, a bit spooky he is. I'm thinking he could be a tall, thin pocket. I've got him because I put on the, oh, I've left it. On the last signature, that's him, I used the other half of this to make one of those faux pockets just here, look. Just there. So that's one of the false pockets, so I need a tag. I did think about putting him in the tag, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to use him as a pocket. So all I'm going to do with that is fold it to the size that I want it to be. use my bigger folding. So I'm going to fold it so that I can just kind of, I want to see some of his arm. Fold it there. And then about there. Okay. I want to fold the bottom up because I don't want it to be the full height of the page. I'm going to fold the top down. And you know what I'm thinking? I've only got that little bit there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in here. I've written on it, look, tall pocket. Trying to be organised. Right, let's cut the bottoms off of this. Let's get rid of these. I was really pleased how the topper turned out. This, I was really pleased with it. Mixed media and me don't go together very well. I did another of these tops. Let me show it you. And I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Maybe if I do it like that, you can. You can see it's crackled, but it didn't crackle very much. And I used like a deep red underneath with black on top, and it just didn't show very well. I was really, can you see? I was really disappointed. And I thought, well, it's I think this is actually a cereal box, piece of cereal box that I've done on the inside. So I thought, well, I used the same red colour, but with some gold. Let it dry, put my glue on, let it dry. And it is just school PVA glue, nothing fancy at all. Painted it on and just slapped black paint on the top, and it just dried like this. And I was blown away. It worked. It actually worked and gave me what I wanted, which I don't very often get with mixed media. I don't know what it is. I don't do it very often because I get disheartened. What I would really like to do is sit with somebody who's good at mixed media, because I'm a very visual learner. And that's the way that I learn. I'm not very good at, I can watch somebody on a video and see how they do it, but it never turns out that way for me. It really doesn't. So I would love to be able to actually physically sit with somebody who's good at mixed media, so I can say, you know, they can say to me, you've got too much on there, too little on there, you need to add this, don't do that. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know anyone. So I bumble along and then get disheartened because it doesn't turn out the way I see other people's. And I know practice makes perfect. I know that. But it's disheartening. I find it disheartening. I'm looking for my ruler. Can't find a tear ruler, so I'm going to cut it. I'm just going to cut this crinkly bit off because I don't want it to be too crinkly. So this is what I mean about that. Could go on a page as a top tuck pocket, and you'd just glue it 1, 2, 3 and it'd be a top tuck. But I'm thinking, my thought process is, if I put this in here and glue that on there, I can also use it as a side tuck, which is what I think I would like to do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it in. So I'm going to glue that down that bit and down that bit. So that's now glued in. Turn it round. As I'm just adding a little piece of paper, just so that it makes it a full pocket. Close it up at the bottom and I'll show you what I mean. I'm sure you know what I mean. I'm doing it for me, really. Because I can never ever remember how I make things. So one of the reasons that I do videos is so that I can remember how I've made something, and then that I like, and then I can make it again. Do you know what I mean? Because if I see it on a video, it reminds me, although I would say they don't very often end up looking the way they did the first time around. But then we change things, don't we? And I've gone for autumn nails, anybody that notices. I'm going to put a little notch in there, just a little one. And so this, let me show you what I'm thinking. Look at him, he is a scary beast, isn't he? So this, I've got a belly band in there. Oh no, that's the first signature. I haven't got any spare pages in that because I filled it up. That was the flip that we did. People weren't so sure about this geezer. I know he's dripping and drooling, but I'm sure he's not as nasty as he makes out. He reminds me of the dogs that they had in, oh, Ghostbusters. The dogs, the demon dogs is what I mean. So that's going to have that pocket there. So what if he, oh, I like him there. He went there. He would be a top tuck just there. And if I glue in 1, 2, 3, it can be a side tuck as well. And I think that's where he's going to go. So I'm filling up signature 2 quite nicely. And I tell you what, this is going to be one heavy, chunky journal. I don't know if you can see how much signature 1's filled out. Signature 2 is getting that way. They are all filling out really well. I was going to put my cover, I'm flitting around, aren't I? I was going to put my cover together, but I just don't know how big I'm going to need the spine to be. And so until I know, but that is weighty already. Very weighty. Right. I've got a couple of things here I wanted to do with you. Now I am thinking this CD case, I have some Tim Holtzy people, 2 little boys, and I think they're going to go in there, and I might put that on the outside like that. So I'm going to ink this up. So this is just a CD case that I've tea dyed, and I've put you know, the cheap plastic mats that you get. They were all the rage when I was a kid. Parents used to, you know, your mum used to stand your fruit bowl on it and all sorts. Plastic lace mats. I love using them to get dark stains, dark marks on my tea dyeing. And the way that I do it is a very slow process, I will say, because I do things one at a time. If I've got things like little envelopes, I can do more than one at a time. But usually, I might put a bit of stamping on that as well. Usually I do one thing at a time, because if I let it air dry on its own, I get a really good imprint. So that's what I do. So he is going to go in there. I want these little boys to go in. So I've just cut this slightly smaller than the CD case. It's not going to be a pocket. And I just want them to be gazing out. They look very sorry for themselves. These might have been in, I don't know if these were in Tim Holtz Halloween people from last year, because I did splash out on that. I was a bit disappointed that there weren't more spooky people. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of glue on them and then stick them in to be where I want them to be. Which is about there. Now they won't move from there. I've told them not to. They won't shift. I'm going to glue that down because I want this to be shut. It's not a pocket, it's a flip. So that is glued and it's going to go that way. I want to put some paper. Can you see them okay? Yep. I want to put some paper on here because I want it to be kind of a writing space. What have I got? I've got this. So I think I will use this. Let's cut the level. I was going to say cut the level top. Cut the top level. Don't lose my little butterfly. It's not a butterfly. What is he, a death? Not a death watch beetle. He's not a beetle, he's a moth. He's the moth that has the skull on it. I know somebody will tell me what it is. They'll be going, come on, Carol, you should know that. Why haven't I got my tear ruler? 1 minute, folks. I didn't have it because I'd covered it up. So that I am going to cut. I'm going to trim it just shy like that. There we go. I think it just adds a little bit more dimension to a journal when you put flips and things in. Is what I think. I've got a piece of paper stuck under my foot, folks. It's annoying me. And I am going to stitch around this. Here's my little, yep, he's going to go on there. So I think this was from the Tim Holtz Halloween. It's definitely a die cut or whatever you call them. I don't know what you call them. So that can go on there. And I'm wondering if I've got any words that I could use. I heard footsteps behind me, but it's they. There's a, oh, here we are, look. What horrors had they seen? Or they had seen. I'm going to put that over there. Yes. Yes, I am. What horrors they had seen. They do look a little bit scared, don't they? Or a little bit, gosh. Okay, let's put that on there. Okay. What horrors they had seen. So it looks like they're out in the woods on a moonlit night, doesn't it? I'm just looking, I've got this left over that I tore this from, and I think that I am going to use this as a side tuck and attach this CD case to it. So this then will, ooh, yes, because I've got the flip there. Now, I think I've told you before that I like to incorporate mine inside. That's quite a big flip. I am just wondering if I trim some of that off. I'd like to keep the moon, if I can, on the front, because you're not going to see the back. You are not going to see the back. Right. Why don't you just do it like that, Carol? Do it like that. And then cut this bit off. And then you know you've got the moon on the front, don't you? That was hard work, wasn't it? Yep, happy with that. And I'm thinking that we have the bats. Oh, I've got one more little one left, look. He can be flying into the moon. What horrors they had seen. So this will be a side tuck in the journal, and then this will flip out like that. So the way that I like to do it is I like to enclose this flip in between these, and I've been asked why, and it's because then when you go to tuck, that will still flip out like that, but when you go to tuck something in here, there's nothing for it to get caught up on. Whereas if you stick it like that on the back, it gets caught, I find things get caught up on that lip. So I like to put mine in between. Just one of those things that I've found that I like to do. I want to cut some off the bottom because I thought that might be too long before I go and do it all. It's nothing worse than putting something together and then finding you've got all the wrong measurements, is it? I can just see that bit there as well. There we go. So I'm going to put that in there like that. I'm not going to have it dead spot to the bottom. Am I still on screen? I am. That's going to go like that. Then I'm just going to put glue, come here, on this to glue it shut. So that is just going to fold back and glue shut. Like so. And I will ink that so you won't see that little bit of white. So that will flip out there, and then that will be a tuck. But I want to stitch around this, so that's going to go in my stitch pile. Do you want to see what it looks like on a page? Let's just find a page and put it on and see what we think. So it would go on a page like that, then it would flip out there and it'd be a tuck spot just there. Yeah, okay, that's that one. And then if you don't mind sticking with me, I just wanted to do a couple of tags. I did indeed. So this is a page that I have cut into 3. So it's a page like that, and I've cut it into 1, 2, 3. And the reason that I've done that is because I want to make it into, well, I want to make tags out of it. How wide is this one? Very wide, I think. I think I'm going to make it 4 1/4. How wide is that? Do you know, 4 1/2 might do it. I'm just going to cut a slither off the edge. I'm not, because I think it will be right. I think it's just going to be a big tag. I'm going to cut some off the top, because that is literally the right size for a page. So I'm going to cut it down, because if it's going to be a tag, I don't want it poking out. So that's going to be like that. I have this gentleman here that I want to be leaning, kind of leaning on that post. On that post, he's leaning on the grave. And I want him to have bat wings like that. So I'm going to give him bat wings. Like so. So he is going to be there on that tag like that. Just leaning, nonchalantly leaning on there. And I think I want a little quote for him. I'm running out of time, aren't I? I'm going to go a little over time and hope that I can, if my filming's gone the wrong way, that I can turn it. 1 minute. So the words I've picked for this gentleman is A Much Misunderstood Gentleman. That's what I'm going to put on here. So I think I need to put him on first. I probably should have backed it before I go and stick him on, but never mind, I'm doing it back to front, folks. So this is going to be a journal. Oh, I think it's going to be a journal card. I suppose it could be a pocket if I decided it could be. So he's going to go on there like that. That will fit there. I switched you back on. Yes, I did. So that's going to go on there. A Much Misunderstood Gentleman. Actually, I think he's Count Dracula. So that's going to be a journal card. A Much Misunderstood Gentleman. I like that. Got sticky fingers. Right, he's going to go over there. I've got this gentleman here. And he's just taking a stroll. Standing in the steps of the graveyard. One moment while I find a saying for him. And for this gentleman I've got, I'm walking in the graveyard now. He might regret it, mightn't he? He might regret it indeed. And again, this is going to be a journal card. So he's just going to go on there. And no, I forgot, I need to take some off the top, don't I? I'm going to take it off the top. These Tim Holtz, and I'm never too sure how good the sticky is on them. I'm walking in the graveyard now. There we go. You might regret it, mightn't you? You never know what's coming at you in a graveyard. So again, you can use the journal pages to make tags out of, you know, do something a bit different. So I'm walking in the graveyard now is that one. And then last but not least, we have this one. And I wanted to put those flowers on it. Let me find a quote for this one too. Okay, I found one and I think I'm going to use it. It says, "Quietly laid at last upon the turbulent heart." So I think I'm going to set that slightly. Quietly laid at last. I'm going to stick this on first, I think. And then if I need the flower to hang over, I can do, can't I? Because I don't know if I'm going to want to stitch around these at all. Quietly laid at last. Yeah, that'll be fine there. Right, okay, so I can stick this on, I think. Because I'll split the other words in two as well, so it'll split. Have I switched you back on? I have. Do you know, sometimes I feel I have got the memory, oh, well, brain span of nothing, honestly. So forgetful at times. Terrible. If I don't do things when I think of it, that's it, we're done. I think I want that at a bit of an angle. Quietly laid at last upon the whew, I've gone all hot. Quietly laid at last on the turbulent heart. Sounds like whoever's in that grave has not had a good time, doesn't it? Turbulent heart. There we go. I'm happy with that. And I need to cut some off the top, don't I? Cut it off now while I think about it. Otherwise, it ain't going to fit in a pocket because it's going to be too tall. There we go. So I don't think I've done too bad. I've been with you for just over 45 minutes. I've got 3 journal cards that I will back, so I'm happy with those. I've got my flip with the CD case, which I'm happy with, and then the other 2 pockets that we did. So I'm getting there, folks. So I do hope that you like what I'm doing. Let me know, and let me know anyone if you know where I can get some nice airmail envelopes. And I will see you all later. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.